motion to approve tonight's agenda. Tom, second Henry. Any questions? All in favor? 7-0. Okay, Mr. Poole, Superintendent's report.
Good evening and thank you. Welcome everyone. So tonight is the last meeting of the school year. It's been a great year here in our school district. So much success and achievements from our students and staff and support from the community. So tonight marks the end of another great school year, at least in regard to the board meetings. I'd like to start tonight with the congratulations to Board President Katie Anderson for attaining NYSBA's, New York State School Board Association's Level 3 Board Mastery Award. This award is given for extensive professional development in the area of board leadership. Ms. Anderson's dedication to our district is commendable, and this award is well earned. I'd also like to congratulate trustees Jim Smith and Megan Teppenhart, who have achieved another significant NYSBA milestone by reaching Level 1 in board mastery. Our trustees' commitment in Shoreham-Wading River to their own professional growth is deserving of our thanks and recognition. So if I could, and I'll hand these back, I'd like to take a picture with our three trustees with their NYSBA, New York State School Board Association certificates of achievement.
Okay, thank you.
So over at the high school, it's been the final stretch for the awesome class of 2023. Graduation rehearsal was held earlier today. The prom will be at Giorgio's on Wednesday night, tomorrow night, and graduation will take place on Friday night, weather permitting. The forecast doesn't look great right now, but we're going to hope that that changes. Our goal is always an outdoor ceremony, and if weather permits, we would move the ceremony to Saturday, but we'll keep everybody posted as the week moves on. Over the last week, and finishing up tomorrow and Thursday, Shoreham-Wading River High School students will have taken over 1,400 readings exams. So congratulations to them for all that hard work and effort, and to our staff who are preparing our students for those exams. I'd like to take a moment to congratulate the High School Yearbook Club, and I have the version, this year's High School Yearbook over here. It is absolutely fantastic. It's beautiful. Thank you to the students and to their advisor, Ms. Shepard. It's a beautiful yearbook. And I just want to recognize the editors-in-chief, Emma Logan and Gianna Hughes, and the editors, Megan Thrash and Lily Pion. So great job by the students, and that's a great, great And then another literary club we have in the high school, which is a long-standing tradition in Shoreham-Wading River, is the Symbols Club, which is an art and literary magazine club. This is just some phenomenal artwork, poems, short stories, put together by that club, and I want to thank Ms. Nazer and the students for sending a copy down to me. Excellent, excellent work, and we'll try to get a copy of this up on the website as a PDF for the community to read. Over in athletics, over 100 seniors were recognized at the Senior Athletic Award on June 14th. Ryan Herr, Grace Ann Leonard, Joe Steinmel, and Madison Zellin were recognized as Athletes of the Year. Annie Sheehan received the FEML Scholarship, and Emilio Rivera received the Dean Arna Memorial Scholarship. Finally, the Wildcat Athletic Club presented 10 scholarships to our student athletes, so congratulations to all of those students. Over at the middle school, congratulations to all of the middle school music students on their wonderful last performance of the year during the spring concerts last week. What a talented group of students. The 8th graders at the middle school have their yearbook signing event tomorrow. And thanks to our PTO, the students have a treat from McNulty's Ice Cream that will be served while students reminisce about their middle school year. So thank you to our parent-teacher organization at the middle school. Over at Wading River, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade concerts were a tremendous success this past Thursday, with students playing many songs including the themes from Indiana Jones and Aladdin. So fantastic job by them. And also, we've had a bell choir in the school district in the past. We had it a couple of years ago. It's up and running, and the bell choir, very unique program they performed as well. So giving our students a great experience. The Wading River School also welcomed the North Shore Public Library into the building last week to help promote summer reading and learning opportunities for students, and fifth graders will be joining in on their moving up day tomorrow on the backfield of Wading River School at 9:30 a.m., weather permitting. Over at Miller Avenue, our second grade chorus put on a wonderful show. So it's talent in the school district from kindergarten on through up. Put on a wonderful show under the direction of Mrs. Verity. Parents and friends were treated to a variety of songs, performed perfectly. Students gave an in-school performance for their schoolmates earlier in the week. Earlier this month, Miller Avenue welcomed back our high school seniors on their senior walk. It was a great success. Our young students could see where they were headed in the future, see the seniors in their caps and gowns, and I know our seniors were thrilled to see their former teachers over at Miller Avenue. Our second grade send-off was a huge success last Friday as the Miller Avenue School said goodbye to their second grade students and wished them well as they head off to Wading River School in the fall. So thank you to the Miller Avenue PTO for helping to sponsor that amazing day for our second graders. On the agenda tonight, I'd like to welcome Derek Natz, Ken Schupner, and Rich Esposito from Park East, who are here this evening to give an update to the Board of Education on planned capital projects this summer. We have a lot of exciting work happening. I'd like to thank the board, the community for their continued support of ensuring that our students and staff have healthy, safe, and engaging learning spaces. Most importantly, we will also be celebrating our retirees this evening for their years of incredible service to the children and community of the Shoreham-Wading River community. And just a note, prior to tonight's meeting, we did have a chance to meet informally, share some light refreshments with our retirees, and hear some beautiful music from the high school Orpheus Ensemble. I'm looking forward to recognizing them this evening. And last, I'd like to thank, it's the end of the year, I'd like to thank all of the residents that are a part of our district committees. There are several Board of Education committees that our residents take part in, and we are not as successful as we are without their participation. So that they come out and donate their time to give feedback and advice on all the district committees this year is greatly appreciated. And a little plug, if anybody's listening or watching, if you are interested in joining a district committee, please contact the district clerk or my office directly, and we'll get you all the information you need to join one of those committees. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. Next on our agenda, we have student staff recognitions, and tonight we will be accepting a donation of American and New York State flags. Can I get a motion to accept 383 on tonight's agenda? Tom, second Megan. Any discussion or questions?
No.
All in favor? 7-0. Yes, and we have a student here who is attending for the purpose of presenting on our flags. Thank you, Courtney.
This year we were able to donate 2 flags, the United States flag and the American flag and the state flag. We were lucky enough for our senior class to be able to do that. And, as we move on, we hope to come back and see them in our auditorium presented. So thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
You're
Kaya,
welcome.
too, for coming. They are beautiful. Patty, do you mind getting a photo? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Next on our agenda, we have our retiree recognitions. I'd like to invite our principals up to recognize our retirees.
First, I'd like to invite Mr. Lacey to recognize the high school retirees.
Thank you very much, and it's always a pleasure to be here tonight. We have 3 retirees from the high school. We're going to start with Miss Alexandra Alex Tedesco, was a clerical at Shoreham-Wading River High School for just over about 5 years, and during that time she built strong relationships with many of her colleagues. Working first in the A-Wing office, then in the main office, Mrs. Tedesco played a pivotal role in many of our day-to-day operations. Alex could always be counted upon to be there for staff and students alike. Alex retired this past November and is now splitting time between New York and Florida, as well as traveling with friends and family. I, for one, am happy to have one less Yankee fan to deal with in the building, but in all sincerity, everyone here at Shoreham-Wading River wishes Alex nothing but the best, good health and happiness in her retirement. The next person I would like to speak about is the person that I have had the great pleasure to work with the most closely over my last 6 years, and that's Mrs. Gail Longo. Gail has been in the district for just over 21 years, the majority of which as principal secretary. For anyone who has ever worked in a school, especially in a high school, knows that there is no singularly more critical employee than the principal secretary. They hold the keys to the castle, quite literally, oversee the calendar, and stand as the gatekeeper between the principal and what can often be a very chaotic world that exists inside of that high school. The principal secretary allows the principal to be able to do their job while handling all of the other day-to-day operations. It was truly my greatest stroke of luck that I've had just an amazing secretary to start with in Mrs. Longo. I know that next year she'll still be able to get, I know that next year I'll still be able to get to work on time, but after that, I'm not really quite sure what that's going to look like. Very hopeful that a round of interviews coming up, we're going to find somebody, certainly not to replace, but to bring in next. She is a consummate professional in all that she does. One of her greatest gifts, outside of putting up with me and my multitasking, is her ability to make everyone feel like they are being listened to and what they are saying matters. It's nearly incomprehensible to imagine how many questions Gail would answer on a daily basis. From big to small, from inane to the most important, Gail always did her best to answer the questions and get the person asking moving in the right direction. I am quite sure that Gail is looking forward to spending much more time with her husband Joe, her son James, and his wife Gabby, and her granddaughter Savannah. Best wishes for a new grandbaby along the way, coming soon, and her boys Ryan, Nikki, and Joey. So congratulations to Gail. Finally, Lori, come on up, please. Miss Lori Raccanello has been a teacher here at Shoreham-Wading River Central School District for the last 21 years. Come around. Get over here. You're fine. You're fine. Over the years, Lori has worked both at Prodell and at the high school, so I am quite sure that Mr. Van will echo these sentiments as well. Over the past 2 decades, Mrs. Raccanello has worked with thousands of students, sharing her love of science and discovery with each of them. In addition to teaching living environment, Lori has also taught oceanography and other science electives. Regardless of the course, Lori has always emphasized to her students the importance of observing and respecting the natural world around them. For the past several years, Lori has been the faculty advisor for Women in Science and Engineering, or the WISE Club, and I know this has really been a smile for you. As the advisor, she has had the opportunity to help coordinate with Stony Brook University to provide our top female science students with amazing opportunities to work with students and staff at Stony Brook. Mrs. Raccanello could always be found with a smile on her face, much like right now, and a kind word for all of whom she came in contact with. In her retirement, I'm quite sure Lori is going to spend as much time as possible with her husband, daughters, Chris and Amanda, grandson Joey, along with the rest of her family. We also know that Lori will never be too far away from her gardens, where her love for nature is cultivated on a daily basis. Everyone at Prodell and at Shoreham-Wading River High School wish you nothing but the best health and happiness in your retirement. Lori, congratulations.
Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Kevin Van to speak about the retiree from the middle school.
So it is truly my pleasure to honor Miss Ellen Higgins, who's a special education teacher at Albert G. Purdell Middle School. She's been a fixture in our school for many years, and particularly in the special education program. Ellen began in about 1998 in the newly formed life skills class. supporting students and helping them to develop in that wonderful program. She then moved over to teaching resource room for about 13 years, alongside with one of her best friends and sidekick, Barbara Pellegrino, who is also here tonight to help her celebrate. The last few years, Ellen's been supporting students in our ICT program, primarily in the 7th grade. Over the course of her career, many teachers have been lucky enough to have the opportunity to work besides Ellen and witness her connection and commitment to her students. She is tireless in helping to keep her students organized and on track as they navigated the halls of the middle school. She goes above and beyond for her students, making sure they have all the resources they need to succeed. She has compassion, integrity, and an incredible work ethic, and is an inspiration to everyone who knows her. She's an incredibly positive person, and her love for teaching, even after all these years, has never waned. She has an undeniable affinity for working with students with special needs. She was a strong supporter for integrating students and providing social opportunities for them, which led to her starting the Special Education Teen Rec program many years ago, along with her colleagues Patty Lembo and Helen Hassel. She also started the recycling program for the school with her students. You will always know which car is Ellen's at the middle school because it's loaded with bags of empty bottles. Well, of course it's a Prius. She loves music so much that she would often break out into song in the middle of class based on a phrase or something that they were teaching in the lesson. And she always had some kind of story to tell about what they were learning in class. Ellen was really the de facto welcoming committee at Prodell. Always the first to greet new faces, welcome to our school, show them around. She made her new colleagues really feel at home, and she brightened up everyone's day that she came in contact with. She's looking forward to visiting all the people she loves so much up and down the East Coast, as well as out in California to visit her daughter Colette and Sean. Right? She's also looking forward to gardening in her retirement. Ellen is looking forward to renewing her passion for cycling. If you know Ellen, Ellen is a woman of many, many, many words. She once biked across Iowa in her younger days, and it's rumored that she introduced herself to everyone in the state. On a personal level, I've always appreciated Ellen's care and concern for her colleagues. As Ellen was taking care of her mom, who was facing health issues, she was always first to ask me how my mom was doing, who was also struggling at the time. She always looked beyond herself and wanted to check in on friends and colleagues. She had a particular liking for Pajama Day at the middle school during Spirit Week. She went all in, bathrobe, slippers, whole 9 yards, maybe, I'm surprised, no mud mask or a hairnet. And when I used to tease her about it, her response that she was practicing for retirement. Well, Ellen, congratulations. You'll be sorely missed, but we're excited for you to begin this new chapter. We wish you health and happiness as you embark on your perpetual pajama days.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to invite Mr. Perinello to speak about the retirees from Wading River School.
First, it's my honor and pleasure to speak about Donna Mills. She's probably home watching this in her quiet way. So Donna, this is for you and for all of us here. So Donna Mills has made a positive impact on the students and staff at Wading River School. Those words were shared back in 2003 when she first started as a teaching assistant in SWR and ring equally true today. Donna's quiet, positive, see how quiet she is? She's quiet, she's like, positive, patient, and professional style helped support children with special needs in creative, thoughtful ways. Her time in SWR began long before that, though, as a classroom volunteer. She was a substitute lunch monitor, which is tough, a teacher's aide, and secretary. In addition, she even worked for the before and after school care program run by the North Shore Youth Council at Wading River. Her heart, though, was always centered on supporting children with special needs. One of the special education teachers Donna worked with shared that Donna is absolutely fabulous in every way. She would seamlessly modify daily lessons and homework assignments, making them more accessible to the children under her care. Her soft-spoken, calm demeanor was highly effective and promoted an air of collaboration among the students and staff, anyone that was fortunate enough to work with her. When many of our regular routines were upended by the global pandemic, Donna was handpicked to help greet students with a smile outside in all types of weather. Even during those rainstorms, those heavy rainstorms, Donna would give a little clap of her hands, tilt her head to the side, and with a skip in her step, walk through the door into the elements, ready to welcome every child to Wading River. Through the years, I've been fortunate enough to work with Donna. She's only had positive words to share about everyone. So I'm going to close with some positive, very true words about you, Donna. You're dedicated, knowledgeable, patient, supportive, reliable, approachable, joyful, organized, adaptable, creative, collaborative, and greatly missed. Yes, Donna, you will be greatly missed. On behalf of all of us, I wish you continued joy and happiness as you begin this new chapter in your life with more time to share your strengths and joy with your family, which is, I know, where you are right now. Know you will always be a part of Wading River School. Thank you, Donna. All right, Sue, you're up. Come on. Welcome. Already, she's like comparing. Let's you just enjoy the moment? I've known Sue for a while, a long, long time. Sue first started back as a lunch monitor in 1997 at Miller Avenue School, coming to us with experience as an actuarial analyst, right? A budget planner, a pharmacist aide, and you're an office manager, right? That's what I do. The staff back then were quick to realize that Susan took responsibility not only for the children in her own class, but for everybody else's kids as well. She provided support for everyone, going above and beyond expectations from the start, Sue. They should have known then. She was promoted to teaching assistant during the 1999-2000 school year due to her professional interactions with children. Flexibility, good judgment, and skill with helping learners with unique needs. You remember that? Okay, so even in the most challenging of situations, and Sue, we've had some, right? Sue maintained her sense of humor, found ways to bring joy to the moment. The bulletin board displays she helped create with students are legendary. From the time you volunteered to facilitate groups of fifth graders back at Miller Avenue with their Civil War projects, in the early 2000s, creating banners and those sort of things, to the beautiful bulletin board that you were working on just last week in the third grade wing, know you and your efforts, your heart, made such a difference for the students and staff for years and years and years in our schools. It's interesting to note that Sue was selected as one of the first teaching assistants in the district to help establish inclusion, which is considered commonplace now. That was Sue. Remember when we did that back in the second and third? I picked you. I did. And you are retiring from a third grade teaching assistant position in the same program at Wading River School, the evolution of that program. It's destiny, Sue. Throughout these years, Susan supported children in other settings and buildings, including the Learning Center, and was our AIS reading program. Remember, for readers and writers, you do the running records, do all those paperwork and stuff. Sue was handpicked to facilitate bus arrival and dismissals every day because you love being in charge, right? And you're great at it. And usually I had like a team, and then there was just Sue. I was like, she's got it. We don't need anybody else. You can often be found, quite often, dancing in front of the kids, greeting them with the fist bumps, and just keeping that positive energy going in the morning. Perhaps, it all began with your actuary background. I can try to say that 5 times fast. Wherever it evolved from, Sue, you made every single moment count. Thank you for giving your time to the children of Shoreham-Wading River, and it's been my pleasure and honor working with you and getting to know you and your wonderful family through these many years. You will be greatly missed, Sue. I'm going to miss you. And I wish you much joy and happiness as you journey to Armenia, Italy, and the world, carrying a piece of SWR in your heart. And know that you will always be in ours. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Ms. Claudia Smith to discuss the retirees from Miller Avenue School.
Good evening. I am honored to be here tonight to honor the retirees from Miller Avenue School. I'd love to start with Miss Donna O'Connell. And Donna O'Connell was a teacher at Miller Avenue, and she retired this past fall. She's not with us tonight, but I hope she is listening. Donna retired from Shoreham-Wading River in the fall. And it really gives me great pleasure to have this opportunity to speak about her. Donna's dedication as a teacher was extraordinary. She taught 3rd and 5th grades before she made the move and took on the challenge of teaching kindergarten as she ended her career. When I asked Donna's colleagues about her and asked them to share some facts and some memories, I found consistency in all of their responses. Donna cared deeply about her friends, her family, and her student, and that was something that I heard from everyone. She came to work every day. She had a smile on her face. She always had a warm greeting. She was enthusiastic to start her day. Her empathetic nature resulted in her always putting herself before others. Donna loved each of her students immensely, and she showed this by her throughout her interactions with them. She made learning interactive and fun for her students, always encouraging them to try new things and to do their best. Her impact on the Shoreham-Wading River School District will be felt for many years to come. Donna was known around the building for her love of all things ladybugs and could always be counted on to tell her colleagues, "Have the day you'll have," every morning as she entered the building. Her upbeat and positive attitude was absolutely contagious, and she was ready with a smile and an uplifting word for all of her friends and colleagues in the building. Donna's classroom was warm, it was welcoming for all of her students, and it was filled with activities and challenges that would keep even the most energetic kindergartners engaged and focused. She fostered love of learning in her classroom. I remember when Donna, we came back from her COVID and the students were separated, and she was so worried about their anxiety and that she couldn't hug them and that we couldn't get that. So she had each a little stuffed animal that she bought out of her money and had it waiting on the students' desk so that if they were nervous, they could come in and they could hug it. And that's one memory that I have towards the end of her career. On behalf of the Miller Avenue family and the Shoreham-Wading River School District, I want to express our appreciation for Donna's years of service and her dedication to her students. We miss her smiles at Miller Avenue, we miss her kind words and her hope, and we surely hope that she is enjoying her retirement with her family. Mr. Paul DeVito. So he does not like to be the center of attention. I see Glenn, so I will make him be the center of attention. I had the pleasure of, we had a staff retirement dinner and celebration, and I said some of those embarrassing things, but I forgot something, and before I read all my mushy words, I will share one thing that I just think is the most fantastic memory of Paul in the Shoreham-Wading River District, and this is the perfect place, don't you think? Yeah. So I heard, as I gathered information about Paul, I heard a story about a former superintendent and board that, the meeting was being held in the building and it was running very late because sometimes that happens. We know that. It was very late and Paul was working and he was cleaning and closing up the building. Do you remember what you did, Paul? Yes. So he just he asked the superintendent, it's time to leave because he needed to finish his work, and I appreciate that. And I forgot to mention that the other night, and what a perfect place to mention it. So I'm sorry to embarrass you, but I knew that we would all appreciate that story. Paul, during your time at Miller Avenue, you have ensured that our hallways have gleamed, our classrooms were immaculate, and our school remained a haven for learning and growth. Your work was not just about sweeping floors and emptying trash cans. It was about creating an environment that inspired our students and uplifted everyone who walked in those doors. You're more than a custodian. You're our friend. You are a mentor. You are a role model to all that have crossed your path. You have touched so many hearts that you don't know. You are a kind, warm man. You always have a smile on your face. You encourage others, you care about others, you ask. Beyond your responsibilities, you displayed this commitment to the Miller Avenue family and to the Shoreham-Wading River community. Paul, your retirement is upon us. Mhm. But it also signifies the beginning for you. It signifies a well-deserved chapter of rest for you, relaxation and fulfillment. As you embark on this new journey, we hope you reflect on the lives that you have touched here, because we will not forget. On behalf of our school and our family, I expend our gratitude for your years of service to the Shoreham-Wading River School District. Your presence is going to be missed, but we take joy in knowing that you will still be a part of our family. We hope that you ride your bike up to visit us like you do now. There will always be sweets in school for you to enjoy. Your friends will still be there, and we're going to be watching you enjoy. So please join me in applauding Mr. Paul DeVito as he transitions to his retirement. I have a lot to tell about Miss Nancy Marsicano, but I got to share all those fun things at our dinner the other night, so I will save those. This is a real hard one. Nancy is my partner in the office. As I was sitting in the back, I started to tear up a little bit, so I'm going to hold it together. Nancy, your presence and dedication at Miller Avenue has been nothing short of extraordinary. You have been the welcoming face, the calm yet very fast voice, and a true genius in our office that has kept our school running smoothly day after day. You manage the budget, you handle tasks, you answer calls, you attend to the needs of students and parents, and you truly are a backbone at Miller Avenue School. You have brought so much warmth and compassion to your role and touched the lives of everyone that you have interacted with. You care. You genuinely care. You care for the well-being and success of our students. You're not just a secretary. You are a friend. You are a mentor. You were always ready with a kind smile for me, a listening ear, and you really can solve any problem that is put forth. On a personal note, I just want to say thank you. I started here 4 years ago, and I truly believe without this woman by my side, I don't know if I would have experienced the success that I have. I am so incredibly grateful. It's hard letting you go, but I do understand you have a family and grandchildren that you want to spend time with, and I am so happy for you. As you embark on your life, I want you to know that you have had an immense impact on this community. On behalf of the Miller Avenue family and the Shoreham-Wading River School District, please accept our gratitude for all that you have done. We will miss you. We will miss you greatly. I hear a rumor that you'll be subbing. We will be calling you. I wish you well.
Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Ernesto Rossini to speak about some of our district-wide employees.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to be here to recognize, 4 buildings and ground staff, but the 3 that are district-wide that are not assigned to any particular building. From the buildings and ground staff, we have Mr. Pete Carlson retiring this year, Mr. John Masterson, and Mr. Bob Naraki. Over the last couple of years, I think we've really come to appreciate all of the hard work with the pandemic in mind that the support staff does to ensure that the buildings are safe and clean for the students. But I'm going to keep it a little short and sweet. So I just wanted to start off by wishing each of them a very long and healthy and enjoyable retirement, where they do as much or as little as their hearts desire. Each of them is retiring from the Buildings and Grounds Department, where their hard work has helped keep the district safe, clean, and running healthy for a learning environment for our students and staff. Mr. Pete Carlson is retiring from our grounds group, where his can-do attitude and always helpful nature has helped to keep the grounds in such well-manicured states that we all saw on our way in tonight, as well as keeping the athletic fields in the superior state that they're in. I wish him nothing but the best in his long retirement, and I hope that he enjoys more time fishing, vacationing, and spending it with his family. Next, we have Mr. John Masterson, who's retiring from our maintenance group, where he shared his wonderful woodworking skills throughout the district in all of the numerous bookcases, shelving units, and other casework furnishings that he did that were nothing short of heirloom furnishings that will live long and long, will last a lifetime here. He was a true master of his craft, and I wish him nothing but the best in a long retirement with his family and his new home state of North Carolina. And finally, we have Mr. Bob Naraki, who's retiring from our maintenance group as well, where he served as the district's HVAC technician, helping to ensure that all of our buildings were safe, comfortable, so that good learning could happen there and board meetings could happen in a nice temperatured room. I wish him a nice long and healthy retirement as well with his family. Together, each of these three men have served the district collectively for 60 years. So we would thank them for their many years of service and wish them, again, a long and healthy, enjoyable retirement.
Could we have all the retirees come on up for a group photo? That would be great. Thank you. Congratulations again to all our retirees.
Next up on our agenda, we have Park East Construction Corps here, as Mr. Poole had mentioned in his superintendent's report, to provide us with an update on our summer projects. And thank you again to our retirees. We wish you a wonderful summer and a wonderful retirement.
Thank you.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everyone.
Thank you. All right, good evening. Thank you for having us tonight. We're excited to give you a June update relative to the construction, mostly happening at the high school. So here's the table of contents for tonight's update. Section 1 is going to be a program summary. Section 2, work progress through June. Section 3, work plan for July. And then Section 4, there's not many progress photos yet. Next month, we'll have a bunch of updated photos. Tonight, you'll see some plan views and some renderings of what the spaces will look like come September of this year. These are the programs that we're working on currently. Univentilator replacement, that's at the high school, 5 univents at the high school. And also Wading River Elementary, 16 univents that also include air conditioning. High school generator project, high school roof recoating project, high school art room renovation project, high school auxiliary gym renovation project, and the high school amphitheater. Univentilator replacement. This is work relative to June. Scheduling summer work for the installations of the univents. Wading River Elementary School, the contractor currently has the univents. They're in his shop and ready to go. And the high school univents are expected to be delivered in mid-July. They're starting the demolition on June 26th, and the abatement will follow in July. The high school generator project, we're scheduling the summer work for the new conduits, power feeds, and gas upgrades. Tracking generator lead times. Currently, it's a 45-week lead time, so all the infrastructure is going to be installed this summer, and then when the generator comes, maybe around this time next year, maybe a month earlier, it'll be installed, probably about a 2-week install to get it up and running. The high school roof recoating project, we've been procuring bonds, insurance submittals, all of which are approved. Tracking roof material deliveries, they received their first delivery. 2 more are expected to follow in the next couple weeks. Scheduling the summer work for the start of the new roof recoating. They actually started removing the solar panels today, and they started cleaning and preparing the roof a couple days ago. The high school art room renovation project, again, procurement of bonds, insurance, submittals, equipment, material, and furniture, all of which is scheduled to show up in time for September. With the exception of maybe doors, there may be temporary doors needed, but besides that, all the main casework, HVAC equipment and such will be here for the start of school. Also scheduling the summer work for the start of those renovations in the art room. Abatement and demolition are scheduled to start next Monday. The high school auxiliary gym renovation, same thing with the bonds, insurance, submittals, and equipment. That work was, we were afforded an early start there, so demolition commenced last week. The space is fully gutted and is intended to be opened and active for school in September. And the high school amphitheater, that work started the installation of the phase 1 about a month ago. They're currently 90% complete. This is work planned for July. Univentilators. So they're going to continue at Wading River with the ACM removals and demo of the old units. Continue high school removals and demo of the old units. The high school generator project, starting installing new conduits for the generator tie-in. The high school roof recoating project. They'll continue cleaning and preparing the existing roof surface for the new roof recoating. They're going to continue to remove the existing solar panels and set up the staging. The high school art room renovation project, as stated before, the demo of the art room will start on Monday. ACM removals will follow. Electrical and plumbing disconnects will happen next week. The high school auxiliary gym renovation project, they'll finish the demo of the auxiliary gym and prepare for the new layout, start installing the new electrical and lighting and power feeds. And finally, the high school amphitheater, they're going to complete phase 1 and address any punch list items in the next week or 2. Here's a photo of, or a plan view of Wading River Elementary School. This is the 16 univents with the AC coils. This is at the front elevation of the building. The classroom's on the front elevation of that building. These are the 5 univents at the high school, 2 in the chorus room, 2 in the band room, and 1 in the middle office. This is a roof shot of the new roof-mounted generator. So this rectangle in the upper middle of the page is where the new generator will be sitting. That little square box towards the bottom of the page is the pipe portal for the power from the generator to the building.
I'm sorry, where's the generator?
It's the rectangle up middle.
That one?
That's set far, sorry. That's set far back enough from any intake on the RTUs? I'm sure you guys checked that, right? Okay.
Yes, that was all taken into consideration. This is the high school roof recoating plan. So each color represents a phase. The purple is phase A. The center square area that's pink is phase B. The green, phase C. The purple, D. E is the yellow. The turquoise is F, and that little strip along the side is H. They were afforded an early start here because of scheduling with the electrician. They started early in E. Once they finish E, they'll hop over to A and then follow the letters concurrently around. This is the high school art room renovation. Demolition again to start Monday and be substantially complete for the start of school in September. Here's a rendering of the high school fitness center. Just to reiterate, demolition, it's pretty much empty shell now, and they're going to start putting it back together in the next couple weeks, and will be substantially complete for September. And lastly, the high school outdoor amphitheater. This is about 90% complete. They did all the grading, drainage, sidewalks, stampcrete, the lower stairs, and the stepping stones. So if you see that sidewalk, I probably should have highlighted it, but the sidewalk that runs on the radius, the sidewalk that runs across the bottom, the one that attaches to the oval itself, those stepping stones and stairs have all been completed. That's the last slide, and take any questions or comments.
Back at the high school fitness center, so that area is going to have air conditioning now, right? In that space? Okay.
Yes.
So the electrical is sufficient to carry the load for that now, that you have additional? Okay. And going back to the Wading River School, all those locations that are getting the DX units for the univentilators, those all have existing AC window units, so we're just reutilizing that same circuit, probably?
I think those are new circuits.
Oh, you're running all the new circuits back to the panels, same panels and all? Oh, okay, even better. Great.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, for one of the items on our agenda, a requirement is that we have what's called a public hearing. The purpose of this public hearing is to hear all interested parties and citizens in connection with the proposed adoption of a resolution 2223384, which authorizes the Board of Education to participate in meetings via video conferencing in a manner consistent with Section 103A of the New York State Public Officers Law and implementing procedures established by the Board of Education. Upon the conclusion of this public hearing, the Board of Education intends to vote on the proposed resolution. So now we have Mrs. Mahoney will read the resolution language to account for the public hearing.
It would be approval of board member attendance by video conference under extraordinary circumstances, whereas Chapter 56 of the laws of 2022 added a new section 103A of the Public Officers Law permitting the Board of Education of the Shoreham-Wading River Central School District to authorize its members to attend meetings by video conferencing under extraordinary circumstances. And whereas Section 103A-2A requires the board to adopt a resolution following a public hearing authorizing the limited use of video conferencing under such circumstances, and whereas Section 103A-2 allows for hybrid meetings by requiring that a minimum number of members are present to fulfill the public body's quorum requirement in the same physical location or locations where the public can attend, and whereas Section 103A-2C requires that members be physically present at any such meeting unless such member is unable to be physically present at any such meeting location due to extraordinary circumstances, and whereas in accordance with 103A-2D, any members attending by video conference must, except during executive session, be heard, seen, and identified while the meeting is being conducted including but not limited to any motions, proposals, resolutions, and any other matter formally discussed or voted upon. And whereas Section 103A2G requires that any meeting where a member attends by video conference be recorded, posted to the district's webpage within 5 business days, and transcribed upon request. And whereas Section 3A2H requires that members of the public be permitted to attend and participate, if authorized, in any meeting by video conference when a member attends by video conference. And now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Education of the Shoreham-Wading River Central School District authorizes its members who experience an extraordinary circumstance to attend meetings by video conference. 1, as long as a quorum of the members attend in person at one or more locations open to the public. 2, as long as the member can be seen, heard, and identified while the open portion of the meeting is being conducted. And 3, as otherwise permitted under Section 103A of the Public Officers Law. And be it further resolved that such authorization shall also apply to meetings of any board committees subject to the requirement of the Open Meetings Law.
Thank you, Stephanie. So at this time, if any residents would like to comment on the proposed resolution, which allows a trustee to video conference into a meeting, either please come to the podium, or if we have any questions or discussions by trustees, we can take that at this time. To clarify, any trustee could comment. It's important to implement this to ensure that we provide access to as many meetings as possible to all trustees across a school year. Trustees are volunteers, and at times circumstances do not allow them to attend physically. We have this in effect until, unless New York State moves to extend this allowance until this time next year, I believe it is.
So it's a 1 year.
It's a 1, yeah. For now.
So just a few questions. Can someone define what extraordinary circumstances is? Is it I'm on vacation? Is it I broke my leg? Is it pretty gray to me just not being here?
Like most policies, it's fairly broad
Yeah.
at the discretion of a local Board of Education. I think that the intent of this from New York State allowing this is probably for unplanned events that may be unplanned related to business travel, family health, weather, things like that that are unplanned and impact the trustees' ability to attend a meeting for that. So the board is able to leave that just as extraordinary circumstances. Probably can't imagine all those. Or you could amend the policy and add details to it, but I don't know if that helps.
Yeah. The other question is, what is the process that they're going to attend? Do we have the technology? What's the technology for the board member attending, and where will they? We have to see them, but I'm sure the public has to see them. How do you envision that?
Yeah, we would set them up via a Zoom or a Google Meet, put up an extra screen here, put their beautiful face on the screen for the community and everybody to see, and they could attend the meeting in that manner. And then as far as the public part of this meeting goes, because if you allow a trustee to Zoom in, then the public has to have the same ability to do so. We would likely do it the way we did the COVID sort of Zoom webinars, where we live stream already, and then let the public in real time submit comments and questions to the district clerk and read those aloud during the public portion of the public comment portion of the meeting.
In terms of voting, again, just for clarity, that board member's vote would count, right?
Yes, as long as it's not part of the quorum, there needs to be a quorum. So
In
you
person.
need at least 4 people in person, but yes, after that, their vote would be included.
Okay, thank you.
Is this a new requirement or a new? I mean, just curious. We've had, trustees who are obviously volunteers, have jobs, travel, attend their own district events. Or Rob's principal in another district. I mean, is this something that we're looking to provide? Additional attendance at the meetings, or where we haven't had this the last few years, or was this not required to have a public hearing?
This is an extension of something that came into place during the
During
COVID
COVID?
years. Yeah, so there's one more year left on it, but it does give an opportunity for our trustees who are engaged across the school year that if they're able to, when extraordinary circumstances or unplanned events happen, that they could attend and take part in the meeting under those circumstances.
Okay, any other comments or questions? So at this time, the public hearing portion of the meeting is closed. We can move to the votes and resolutions which included in that is, the first vote and resolution will be this proposed resolution. Can I get a motion to approve 384, which is approval of board member attendance by video conference under extraordinary circumstances? Rob, second Jim. Any discussion or questions?
Can I just ask a question? So the
Sure.
draft that's attached in board docs, is this what we're adapting, we're adding to our policy? Is that, so automatically this policy goes into effect? So policy number 2325 is in draft form, so will that automatically become,
So the legal process is to first to adopt the public hearing, then you
Got
have
it.
to adopt the resolution.
okay, got
And then
it.
you'll come to the policy to adopt the policy. It was 3 parts that were required by
Okay,
law.
that's what I just wanted to clarify. Okay, thank you.
Mhm. We do have the option on the, when we approve this policy, should it be approved, to
Mhm.
waive the second reading, so that where we will be approving the first reading, then waiving the second reading, and then it can go into effect for the ability to then initiate this for the reorg meeting, which is kind of how this came to be as a request by a trustee who can't attend the reorg meeting.
Got it,
So,
okay.
So we'll be all set to have a trustee be able to zoom in. And like Mr. Poole said, we'll have one of these boards, the smart boards, available for like reports and reviews. But then we'll have another smart board where we'll be able to see the person's face.
Is there a requirement to attend the entire meeting? I'm just trying to avoid someone zooming in to vote for resolution and then zooming out. I mean, is there a way to, not that anyone here would do that, I'm just saying, this is only a 1 year, I just don't want us to set precedent that in future years, if it's not a cohesive board, people are zooming in to vote resolutions that they, find either to object or.
There,
push
to
through.
my knowledge, reading through the policy, there's no, it doesn't prohibit any attendance in that way. So in other words, in the same way that we can, our time here needs to be recorded. So if we attend late or leave early, a record of that attendance time needs to be kept in the minutes. But other than that, no, it wouldn't require a certain number of minutes in a meeting in order for, say, that vote to count or something.
Yeah, I would think it would be just as if we were here. And
Exactly,
if,
yeah.
If we needed to leave,
Mm-hmm,
it would be registered, right?
right.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so, we already took motion. Can I get, all in favor of adopting this policy? Okay, 6. All, against? 1. And, that's 7. Okay, 6-1. All right, can I get a motion to approve policies first reading and waive second reading of 2325 video conferencing of board meetings? Tom, second. Jim, any discussion or questions? All in favor? 6. Opposed? 1. 0. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve for first reading the 5251 student fundraising activities policy? Tom, second. I need a second. Jim, thank you. Any discussion or questions on that policy first reading?
Yeah, I noticed in the backup that there were many questions raised at the meeting on June 9th. And it mentions in there that some of those questions will be, I guess the policy or language will be adjusted prior to final adoption. Is there any revision that we should be expecting that will cover some of those questions?
Yes, so we decided to bring the policy for, we had kind of two options, right? So we did have, since this policy involves so many of our community members and organizations, we held a policy meeting that invited members of those organizations to attend, to provide input, to ask questions, and then to leave with the ability to also submit additional email or questions about that policy. We thought about, as a committee, not bringing it to tonight's meeting and having an additional policy meeting to review those questions and comments made. But we wanted to provide the three of us on the committee, Megan, Tom, myself, the board with the opportunity to take a look at the policy so that if we need to explore the policy, not move forward right away with a second read, we have the option to at least discuss it together here. So one of the revisions that was explicit to the policy that was suggested was to include in the indirect solicitation portion of that policy the ability to conduct indirect solicitation for a charitable purpose in conjunction with district-approved functions or events. And so, so that was one item of consideration, to not just have the charitable purpose language, but include district-approved functions. So for example, selling bracelets for like Laxow Cancer, that would count as maybe not just a charitable organization, but a district-approved function that's going to occur. So that was like a minor suggestion to the language. Most of the questions that arose pertain to the practices and the execution of that policy, really how the policy would function in day-to-day practice. And the protocol for that policy had already been initiated in some administrative ways through the use of like an application form. So any organization that was going to conduct or seek district approval for conducting either event or fundraising would require, the district would require the filling out of this form. Some of the feedback that had been given was that the form was very extensive, it was time intensive to complete, and the district, the administration heard those concerns, modified it significantly. It now has, I believe, 16 questions?
It's
like 15 or 16 questions, which was pared down significantly. And the feedback from the organizations was that that form was now user-friendly. You know, that there was a suggestion made that maybe we need another, like one more question to clarify an item, but that would again be procedural. And the policy, there wasn't any specific feedback aside from what I just mentioned to alter the policy in any way, but to keep a close monitor on how the procedure is executed throughout the year for potential modifications or just, you know, here and there some edits. So I don't know, feel free to weigh in if I'm tried to capture as much of it as I could.
I would agree with that. I don't know, I don't know if the policy language would necessarily change. It was really about questions about vendors and things just that are more procedural that really need to be addressed as we roll it out. And I think, you know, based on the meeting that we had, is we did make a suggestion to kind of reconvene as a committee. So once we start rolling it out, we could actually just get direct feedback from those people using it.
You had invited.
See if there's any modifications that can be made.
I'm sorry. So you had invited the booster clubs to, right?
Leadership.
PTAs, PTOs. Is there anyone missing that
What?
should have been there or could have been there?
Well, just The only difference with the,
No,
with the PTOs and the Booster Club is you have adults filling out those forms. Well, I understand for the, moving forward, the athletics is it's gonna work as a club, and students will be responsible to, I guess, apply for the fundraising and manage the funds. Is that accurate? Is that how we're moving towards?
So if I
Yeah,
could, so
sure.
there are some significant changes in this policy and further clarification. And fundraising is complex and is really held by a set of laws by New York State, what we can and can't do. And we take great care in approving fundraisers. And nobody likes a form. I might hate forms. But in order for us to make sure we're doing everything the right way per policy in the state, those forms are necessary. So we are able to streamline the form.
They like the new form.
They like the new form, great. I'll thank Ms. Apikoski for doing some streamlining and making the form online, so it'll be a little bit simpler to do. So some things that are in this policy that weren't in the last. One is that online crowdfunding by a district extracurricular activity fund groups is prohibited. And that's a change. And then the other change Mr. Lewis mentioned was that the athletic, right now, and I thank the Wildcat Athletic Club for many, many years of managing something that was huge and doing it at a very high level. But the athletic teams under this policy would now go through the district. So that would go through the athletic office clerical. The teams, if they want to fundraise, are going to submit that application and send that through the office and get approved that way. Later on in this agenda, there's the approval of extra classroom activity accounts, thank you. Extra classroom activity accounts for all of the varsity athletic teams. Looking at the list, maybe less than half do fundraise through the Wildcat Athletic Club. A lot of teams don't fundraise, but that money will then come in through that and be deposited through the district's handbook for extra classroom activity funds. So I do expect that there'll be some coach and student involvement, more so there's been in the past, but we want to make sure that it's not arduous and that fundraising for them, it takes an hour away from practice. So that's not the intent. So there'll be some learning that happens as the district moves forward with this to make sure that things are done the right way, but it doesn't become onerous for anybody on the team.
Okay, I guess, my question was more of the process, just assisting the Booster Club and, donating and being involved in a lot of those fundraisers. I know a lot of it's parent-driven, so to see it be shifted to athlete, coach, primary, I don't know how smooth that's gonna be, but I guess we'll find out.
I think from the meeting, the takeaway I kind of walked away with was, I think the policy is one thing, it's the execution of the process now, Jerry. How does the district take this in? The student accounts, the management of those student accounts, the process by which they need to request something from the district. Can that be done and procured in a week, for example? So there are a lot of process-oriented questions around the ability to meet the needs of the teams when they're, for example, in a playoff situation and we're learning on the fly what the schedule looks like. Can the district be adaptable to come up with funds that are necessary for some kind of event? So there was a lot of process-oriented, vendor relationships. So it wasn't so much the policy, but around the process of what the district is able to support and in what timeframes. I think that's what I kind of.
Yeah, agreed.
I think
Agreed, yeah.
we're never going to be able to pivot as quickly as a Booster Club or PTA. We have a
Right.
set of policies and guidelines. The good news is that we do have a great high-level system in place for extra classroom activities, fundraising, and then for purchasing. I think one thing that the teams will have to learn is that to the extent that they're able is to get ahead of things. So if you are heading towards the playoff and the playoffs are a month away and you're pretty sure you're going to get there,
Yep.
get everything in line, and then it's very quickly, once all the procedures are done, it's very easy for us to click a button and place the order. So if you're a month out from playoffs and you want a playoff t-shirt, that can happen, but they're going to need to be a little more proactive for that. So procedures are in place, and
So I think the suggestion I would have is if we had, we'll do the first resolution or approve for first read tonight. I think the follow-up would be, Jerry, to have the district meet with the booster clubs again to just discuss the process questions that they've got, because I think they're valid, and think about how do we as a district either plan with the sports teams or the coaches, or who is that liaison then with the booster clubs the sports teams and the students, how is that process supposed to work for everyone involved? That's all. And I know some of it will be learning on the fly, but anything in advance like we just talked about, it'd be great to kind of do a Q&A and make sure everyone's on board with how this is going to work.
We can certainly do that. In
Yep.
the policy, booster clubs and PTAs and PTOs can fundraise outside of the school district. They
Yes.
do not need approval for everything. If there's
Right.
a paint and sip someplace that doesn't involve district facilities
Yep.
or
Right.
or students, or they're able to do that without our approval in this policy.
Absolutely.
But the ones that need approval would be facilities use and involving our students. So I'm under no illusion that taking on all that athletic fundraising is
Right.
going to be without bumps
Right.
along the way, but we'll be prepared for it, and there'll be a lot of communication. And even right now, when somebody puts a fundraising application in, if they don't put it in 2 days before they want to do the fundraiser, there is some back and forth, some, hey, why don't you try this, do this, we need this information, and 99.9% of fundraisers are currently approved and run
Mhm.
smoothly. I expect that to be the case as we move forward.
Yeah, the only thing with that last bullet, fundraising off campus that does not involve students is not subject to district approval. I guess the nice thing in the past few years, that I've been involved in, is even though the district is not approving it or managing it, the funds are collected, held in one spot. There's some transparency. So now, I don't know who's managing those funds, who's collecting them, who's holding them, where are they spending it on, but.
Well, in order to make a district donation, the policy does say if you are fundraising, to reach out to the superintendent or his designee to make sure the district would accept the donation. There are donations that we would not accept. We might not accept the fourth team jersey because we can't sustain the fourth team jersey. If you're gonna buy a jersey, you need the shorts. So there are some things that there may be a great idea and charitable, but it's not something we would accept only because we can't sustain, some of those.
So you think teams can fundraise off campus and then donate that money into their account as a donation?
A direct donation to an extra classroom activity fund?
Right.
Mr. Arcuri?
Yes. They can do a car wash off-site. They currently do them. There are many fundraisers clubs actually do that are off-site, led by the club advisor. Yes.
But this has to not involve the student, so I would have to wash the car to donate the money.
No.
Is that what that says?
Students can still do fundraising off campus. This just
Oh.
says, under
Just
the heading
fundraising
of,
off campus that does not involve students. Is
for
not subject
outside
to
and
district
affiliated
approval.
organizations, but not for in-district. Only for outside or an affiliated organization. So in-district students can still do a car wash or something off campus, but
Okay.
it's subject to, the top part, which is all student fundraising, is subject to approval by district office.
The title also, there was a question about student fundraising activities. So just to touch on what you were asking, Mike, that the title of the policy itself is a NYSBA title. So there's no non-student fundraising activities policy, for example. It's just that's like the state approved language for a policy such as this.
I just had a question regarding the audit committee. I don't know, probably Mr. Arcuri, you're best to answer that. What's the timing of the external audit on extracurricular account, when they do their audit?
June 30th is the end of the fiscal year. So the external auditors complete a full audit of what's called the Extra Classroom Activity Club Fund. So that'll be completed, presented to the audit committee around the first or second week of October, and presented to the Board of Education at the second board meeting in October. So they will not capture anything that we begin for July 1st of 2023, but they will most certainly pick it up at the end of the 23-24 school year. They will be auditing all of the activity, the extra classroom activity. It is one entire fund. What the voters vote on is the general fund. That is your tax levy fund. But the extra classroom activity fund is an entire accounting entity that we are required to process these transactions through.
So they won't see the individual sub-accounts then?
They will see everything.
They will, okay.
They
Okay.
go from the bottom, the most detailed transactional journals, both the internal auditors will actually look at, pull a sample of source documents from
Right.
a couple of different clubs in order to do their testing. That is actually underway right now for the 22-23 audit. They pull a sample of clubs, and they're very prone to pulling samples of newly established clubs to see how well those are actually doing, so.
Right, so, I mean, essentially that audit piece is in play for the existing extracurricular.
Absolutely.
In this case, we would just simply be adding, I guess, additional.
Additional accounts.
Right, and that would be part of the transparency piece of how is it working and documentation and all of that.
Yes, and there's actually an extra classroom activity fund audit posted on the district's website under the a business section. Annually, we are required to post both audit reports out on the district's website. So that's a public
Right.
document, yes.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to clarify that that's gonna happen eventually, so.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the question of, I know that there was some conversations early in the year about having better control over some of the fundraising that was going on in the community. So the choice really is executing this policy to give us more control over fundraising, or, leaving things be. This does represent a lot more work for, offices and administration, but it's absolutely achievable. We'll get it all done. And we'll see if there's any language changes. I kind of do feel, Ms. Anderson, that that comment about fundraising for the on campus, so they are able to fundraise at activities with the facilities use form. So if somebody wants to sell bracelets as a fundraiser, they would just submit facilities use. What's the fundraiser for? Who's it for? And they will be able to do that fundraiser as we do right now.
Mhm.
So right now, if there's an event and an outside group wants PTO wants to sell bracelets at the concert, or WHAM wants to sell bracelets at the concert, they just do facilities use for the hallway. They get facilities use. The fundraiser's approved. What are you fundraising for? So that process would survive underneath that. So I'll take a closer look at it. If
Really,
there's some
it's
change.
so under indirect solicitation, right here, for charitable purpose, if it doesn't need to be amended, it doesn't need to be amended. We just wanted, as a committee, we just wanted to make sure that by only listing the phrase charitable purpose, that it didn't exclude any non-charitable purpose.
I will say this is lifted right off the state's webpage.
Okay.
Mr.
Okay.
Arcuri probably knows that. This one paragraph is right off of state ed, but we can definitely take a look at that first bullet and see if there's room for that adjustment in there.
Okay, or if it's needed, we just
Okay.
have to wanna make sure it's for, doesn't prohibit non-charitable purposes.
This policy shouldn't stop anyone from fundraising. The fundraising in the school district does so many wonderful things for students. It's just a better set of controls for fundraising for the district.
Thank you, yes, and, I really appreciate, administration's work on this, as per direct request of the Board of Education, to, take a look at, fundraising, and it's a tremendous lift on the, backs of our, parents who are heavily involved in, supporting our students, and so, this is certainly the heart of it. That request from the board has been just, to provide support, for those organizations, and, to facilitate what's best for students, which we felt was not, to have overlapping constant, fundraising, or language on crowdfunding sites that said that, X number of thousands and thousands of dollars is required for the execution of a program, or whatever language, is on most of those. It's probably the most appropriate time to say that is just completely false, that this Board of Education, has always supported whatever is necessary for the success of, any programs that our students are involved in. And so that's really been the heart of this work.
I would agree. The fundraising is for enhancements but I do want to say, I don't believe this policy is going to stop some fundraisers that occur, that we just, when we're aware of those fundraisers that have that kind of language that aren't district sanctioned, make our best efforts to reach out and get ahead of that.
Great. And
Just, sorry, just one last quick question. The rollout, I know, you know, some of the fall sports start soon. What do you envision as far as communication to coaches and?
Every season has coaches meeting, so they'll get the policy, they'll get the form, they'll get the changes, they'll get the extra classroom handbook. We'll work with the athletic office, and they'll be aware. They'll be part of that process.
great. And for our PTAs, I think that Janice has supported the rollout thus far. There's been like almost a soft opening of this policy so far, but when it's adopted, that's when, which is not tonight, but that's when there'll be a more of a official opening of the policy for next school year. Okay, any more discussion or questions? No? Okay to vote on the first read. All in favor? 7-0. Can I get a motion to approve the list of policies that we have for second reading and adopt as presented? We have student learning standards and instructional guidelines, which is a new policy, equivalence in instructional staff and materials, which is also a new policy, curriculum management, which is replacing 8110, civic mission of schools, replacing 8241, display of the flag, replacing 3140, display of the flag regulation, civility, citizenship, and character education / interpersonal violence prevention education, which is simply being renumbered from 8242. Can I get a motion? Tom, second Megan. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? 7-0. Can I get a motion to approve the May 23 public meeting minutes? Tom, second. Meg, all in favor? Any discussion or questions?
No.
All in favor? 7-0. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have a note of that. Okay, so, sorry, so for the May 23rd, we don't have, who was not there? Rob and you, Henry?
Yes.
Okay, so we have 2 abstain.
Jim wasn't there either.
Sorry, yeah, I can pull that up.
Jim wasn't.
Okay,
attending either.
3 abstain. Thank you.
Says here you weren't there. Were you there? Were you?
No, he was out.
I think there was just the
You
4 of
attending
us, so
video
it's,
conference?
it's,
That was
it's,
the-
Did you zoom in?
it's Katie, Mike,
Yes,
Tom, and
on May 23rd,
Only had the 4.
that was the
Mr.
4.
Perez, Mr. Rose, and Mr. Smith were all absent.
Okay, thought that was the June 6th one. I'm sorry. Everybody's at the June 6th one, except for, yeah, I was not at the June 6th one.
I wasn't there either.
You weren't? Okay, Rob
And
and
Mr.
Katie.
Sheridan.
For June
was
6th,
not.
I wasn't here.
Okay, great. Can I get a motion to approve the June 6th meeting? Megan, second. Mike, any discussion or questions? Okay, all in favor? So we have
Should be 4,
5, 4,
well, 403.
4, 0, and then abstain, the 3 of
3.
us. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the April 2023 Treasurer's Report? Henry, second. Rob, any discussion or questions? All in favor? 7-0. Can I get a motion to approve the May 2023 Treasurer's Report? Tom, second. Henry, any discussion or questions? All in favor? 7-0. Can I get a motion to approve the CPSC, CSC, and 504 meeting summary from June 7th? Tom, second.
Yes,
Mike,
yes.
any discussion or questions? All in favor? 7-0. Thank you. We have 4 Board of Education resolutions, 385 through 388. Can I get a motion? Tom, second. Henry, any discussion or questions? All in favor? 7-0. We have 8 curriculum instruction resolutions.
Excuse me, Katie, just wanted to
Yes.
make a comment on 388. I just wanted to recognize, thanks to the administration, looks like for our driver's education, we're going to have program, is that for the fall, right? Is that, it'll be, oh, excuse me, summer, it is for the summer, okay, great. Okay,
Yeah, so there's, it'll be in the community programs section of our website for enrollment on that.
so ultimately, the 510 per student, so that would be covered by the person who signs up, right, ultimately?
That's, that cost is
Yep.
passed on.
Okay, great, okay. Well, I'm just glad we found I think we had trouble in the past
Starts in
finding a
July, so-
program.
Yeah,
So thanks, okay, just want to recognize that. Thanks.
We have 8 curriculum instruction resolutions, so can I get a motion to approve 389 through 397? Megan, second Jim, any discussion or questions?
Just a quick question, the,
Yep.
394, and 395, is that a new full-time trainer, athletic trainer? Are we still part-time, per diem?
For Oral and
Oral
Cohen?
and Cohen is our consultant.
Go ahead.
They were ours this year, we're continuing them next year. We revised the language of the contract to allow us to take them and continue them.
Okay, so it's a consultant trainer.
They've been used
Right,
this year.
okay.
All right, any further discussion or questions? All in favor? 7-0. We have one HR resolution, 398. Can I get a motion? Jim, second Henry. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? 7-0. There are 15 business and operations resolutions, many contracts. 399. Can I get a motion to approve 399 through 413? Rob, second. Mike, any discussion or questions?
Just a quick question. We have 2 vendors for the publications. Is that just a timing piece? So we have Save On, and then we also have, is that in this section?
There are different size publications. So different size publications, when the bids came in, one company provided us a better price for a certain publication limit, a 4-page document. So we are spreading it out across
Okay,
2
thank
different
you.
agencies.
Thank you.
Any further discussion or questions?
Just on, sorry, lost the number, 408, so there's a premium increase, right, noted on that?
Yes.
In terms of future, what's expectation for the following year? Do they go out and give you any idea of that, or?
Majority of this increase pertains to the insurance reciprocal's total exposure. There were 2 different New York State laws recently passed that has allowed people that making allegations against activities that occurred to them that were previously past the statute of limitations. That actual statute has been lifted. So without creating sufficient reserves for claims that can go back 25 to 30 years, this insurance reciprocal, which we are part of, needed to capture a larger increase in order to build up additional reserves, in order to defend against cases that they otherwise did not have reserves because they were past the statute of limitations, which New York State has actually now lifted. The question of, have they provided us any idea on what future increases will be? The answer at this time is no. The increase could have been up to as high as 25%. We came in a little bit lower. I had provided some guidance a few months back when this first came out. When New York State passed the law in early spring, it was basically a surprise to the insurance company also. So,
But this essentially brings us to like a new plateau, really. It's not an increase due to, let's say, increased claims or anything where you'd see a year to
nothing to
year.
do with the district
Right.
exposure. This is the insurance reciprocal as a whole.
Okay.
Of course, our exposure comes into account a little bit. Happy to say that we have low exposure this past school year. Majority, if not all of this increase relates to additional opportunities for lawsuits to be brought on that the district's insurer was unable to capture reserves for because they did not need to have them
Previously.
previously.
Okay, all right, great, thank you. That answers that.
So Katie, I have two questions. Related to 409, 2223409.
Yep.
There's additional drivers. Does every driver that's listed have a credit card?
On 409, these are just authorizing the 3 new hires to actually be able to drive the district vehicles between now and the end of this school year, June 30th. The next question is, are all of them have use of the district vehicle credit card? The answer is yes. There is a vehicle credit card. It is attached to the vehicle. So anyone driving that vehicle has the ability to actually use that card.
So each driver goes, so there's not a specific driver. Each driver who drives that car goes to fill it up, basically. So it's a rotating.
At that time, yes.
Okay. Does the credit cards have a maximum, like a lockout balance, or how are those managed?
Credit card actually has a mileage input. There is not a maximum use to the degree where it's going to stop as any credit card would after, say, $60 or $70. It's a maximum 20 gallons times 4, unless if you put your maximum limit higher. But I could assure you they're unable to fill up multiple cars on one card if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there's a lockout. That's all I'm wondering. So there's really not. You have it kind of.
There is a maximum amount per fill-up, if that's what you're asking.
Okay. All right, so you keep an eye on that. All right, thank you. I'm going to move to resolution, which one is it? The walkways. So to 332, is it the walkways?
You
Is that
mean
what I wanted?
410?
410.
I mean 412, excuse me, I'm a dope.
412.
Yeah, where we're updating.
Yeah.
You know, haven't had a lot of time to stare at what the project will include. Are we including electric and other things that we've learned with other projects that could get missed? Because I noticed on here tonight we're doing walkways, we're doing rails, but I know that from previous projects we've had other things get missed. Is there electric or other things going to pop up that we need to go and remove things and fix things again?
We are putting variable conduits that are in the places for future expansion in order to install electric inside of the area. District personnel has already installed a main electric panel all the way down at the pond side. So that is currently already there. We do have a licensed electrician on staff, separate and aside from this particular project, but it was in that general vicinity. So we actually ran that main line ourselves. And the areas in which they are doing the permanent walkways, there have been sleeves put in under it, conduits, call it what you want, in order to allow for future expansion in order to add electric.
Yeah, so my concern is that, so it's really not all complete still. We're going to have more expense that's coming up for electric and other expenses. Do we have an idea what that looks like?
From an electric standpoint, it was always the intent when it comes to, let's just say for evening lighting, it was going to come off the side of the building. As far as having access to a portable PA system in order to plug in, there's currently, as I just mentioned earlier, a full electric panel with 4 available circuits about 20 feet away from the oval, let's just say stage area, performance area, teaching area. As far as a total cost, it's going to be how far do we see this build out? What is it going to be used for? How often is it going to be used? I think that's part of this growth for this particular space. Very similar to the 3 outdoor learning pavilions. We didn't start essentially putting in a heat. We just actually put in the conduits so that if we wanted to grow into that space where we felt heating is needed, power is actually needed, there would not be any type of infrastructure dismantling in order to put those utilities in. So I think we're in the same spot that we are in the other 3 outdoor learning pavilions, having learned from the past that there would be no destruction. It's just as we decide to, are there going to be evening performances there? Yes. Is it better to put lighting coming off of the building coming down so it isn't in the spectators' eyes? There's conversations about putting the speakers, let's say, facing the building so that we actually use the building as part of our acoustical backdrop, like a band shell. So until we really feel out that space, I am not able to provide you what is the actual future maximum budgetary values there. This was primarily to do the infrastructure with the assurance that we aren't going to use any destructing of what we're building as part of the process, exactly what we did with the 3 outdoor pavilions.
Can I get a vote on the 399 through 413? Rob, all in favor? 7-0. Can I get a motion to vote on tonight's personnel agenda? Jim, second. Tom, any discussion or questions? All in favor? 7-0. I'd like to congratulate Julia Matera amongst our other appointments, but Ms. Matera, I see, is in the audience here. So thank you for being here, and we welcome you to not only Shoreham-Wading River as a whole, but our middle school special education department specifically, and we look forward to working with you and having you get to know just how our special education program here is very much like a family, and we're very passionate as a board and as a district in serving our students. Thank you for joining us. All right, so we don't have any further communications or discussions or additional comments.
I did. I just want a quick discussion item.
Absolutely.
So just wanted to add, the other night, obviously, there's been some tremendous recognitions occurring in the district for our seniors. I did want to highlight and just call out for the administration for next year that my hope is for the senior awards, the recognition, that the guidance department does play a more active role, albeit I did want to, obviously, this year they didn't participate, didn't take advantage of the stipend for that area. And I did want to thank publicly Miss Mary Hygum for stepping up. Without her, I don't know how she balanced both the play plus that awards evening. There was a tremendous amount of information and knowledge that she shared, and obviously the number of students that we called out to be recognized as seniors. But I think it would be great if we could look at that first from a standpoint of the management of it, and secondly, the administration of the entire recognition programs to get out to students early enough so that more students can even participate and have the opportunity to put out for whether it be scholarships or other recognition. I think this year was a lot of learning, so just wanted to share that. Thanks.
Thank you, Tom.
Yep.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting and go into an executive session for personnel matters relating to particular person or corporation? Jim, second. Rob, all in favor? 7-0. Thank you. Have a good night.